Okay.
Just too much knowledge.
Too much knowledge.
Too much knowledge.
The processors cannot
Yeah.
process anymore.
The heat of all the AEW talk.
Too much awesomeness. Too much reeking of awesomeness.
Okay សួស្តីបងប្អូនស្វាគមន៍មកកាន់ KCW podcast ថ្ងៃនេះយើងមាន special guest ហើយក៏ជា special episode ថ្មីសម្រាប់យើងដែរដែលទីទៀតយើងជួបជាមួយគាត់ទាំងគ្នាដែលគាត់ជា wrestling fan មួយរូបដែរដែលចង់និយាយថាគាត់ជាជនជាតិបរទេសប៉ុន្តែគាត់នៅស្រុកខ្មែរទេអញ្ចឹងយើងកុំឲ្យខាត់ពេលទៅជួបគាត់ទាំងអស់គ្នា so Brandon you can introduce yourself and your background a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm Brendan. I'm originally from Ireland and living now in Cambodia this is my 10th year. Next month is 10 years in Cambodia. So, but more important than all of that, I'm a wrestling fan. Exactly. Which is why I'm here. So, and I've been watching wrestling since I don't remember exactly, but it was maybe 1989 or 1990. And I've always been trying to figure out when did I start watching it because I can remember certain angles. So then, like, I was thinking, oh, maybe it was like the mid 90s. But then the angle that I remember was the Rockers breaking up when Shawn Michaels threw Marty Jannetty through the glass.
The Rock and Roll Express, yeah.
No, that was the Rockers.
The Rocker, yeah.
So and when he threw Marty Jannetty through the Brutus the Barber beefcakes, yeah. So and I remember watching that, and back then in Ireland we had like one show on a Saturday morning, and it was on like one of the English TV channels that we got imported. So we never got like a direct show, so we would only ever see clips of things and squash matches. So our first experience at WWE was or WWF at the time was roundups of their more important shows, and the more important shows were on a premium channel which we didn't have. So like all of these big stars like Hulk Hogan, like Ultimate Warrior, all of these ones, we knew about them, but we only ever got to see snippets of them. And it was impossible to get pay-per-views. Like that just wasn't a thing in Ireland. So we would pick up from recap shows, or we'd pick up from magazines, and this is how we like started to absorb all of this. But I think the Rockers breaking up was, I think it was 1990. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And I remember the Undertaker debuting as well. Like, so that's back 1990, 1991.
Yeah.
So that's how long I've been watching it now. So long time. And then over the years, of course, it built up. And despite watching it for so long, I never saw WCW until it had finished, because WCW was only on satellite, and satellite was impossibly expensive. So we had one cousins where if we were ever in their house and WCW happened to be on at the time, maybe we could watch it. So my experience of it was very much WWF, all the way WWF. So and years later, going back to watch WCW like tapes and on the network and stuff like that, going, wow, this is really good. Like experiencing the NWO when the NWO DVD was being released by WWF. That was like my experience at WCW. But that's how long it's been going on, and I've never stopped being a fan of it. Switched between companies, but WWF for 90% of my life, and then AEW for a couple of years, and now WWE again. So
Yeah. Never change. It's always in here. It's always
exactly. Like even when we're like over the years you're supposed to grow up. No. Like they tell it, oh, you'll eventually grow out of wrestling, gaming. No. I mean,
it's like all those pop culture and stuff,
Yeah, because there's certain things about wrestling that, number one, it brings you back to your childhood, of course. But the other part of it is like what wrestling, and this is the weird thing and I'm sure you guys experience this, when you try to explain wrestling to people who don't know wrestling, and you're like, they do all of this stuff like, oh, isn't that fake? Isn't it this? Isn't that? It's like, okay, well, you watch the movie, that's fake, right? You watch a TV show, that's fake, right? And like, why is that allowed to be entertainment, but this is not allowed to be entertainment? But bigger than that for us, and you guys know, is the way wrestlers and wrestling angles can make people feel and connect You can't get that with a movie. And I work in the movie industry. You can't get that with anything except wrestling, you know, because these are character developments over years. Movie of 2 hours. TV show you have, we'll say in a 10 episode series, you have maybe 10 hours. 365 days a year of wrestling, however many shows. That's character development.
Imagine that Raw is the longest episodic TV show, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. And the way people are developed, I like when I try to get my head around writing for a wrestling show, I'm not ever gonna do it. It's just like, man, every week.
You try to book a show
every week, not even once a week, multiple times a week. So like, you know, much respect to them on that, and then what they do to their bodies. Like again, in the TV shows and the movies, most of the time they have stunt guys.
Yes.
And you know, they can redo the take. I was like, when I was shooting a movie, I had to do a thing where I'm diving out of the way of I think like we set up safety, we shoot it multiple times, we have multiple angles. You don't get that in wrestling, and like that's unless somebody gets it about wrestling, then there's no point even explaining.
You sign a contract, that's on you.
yeah, exactly. It's like
you put your light on the line. Yeah,
exactly. It's like they're literally giving their body for our entertainment and stuff like that. So like you know, it's a special type of entertainment, and considering it comes from the carnivals and stuff like that and the circuses, it's unique that it's come to what it is now. So much respect to the industry and all the people that built it.
Okay. Yeah, very insightful. So, but I mean, before we go further, like you talking about like film industry and music, and as I knew him, like Brendan, he also like be a part of like new music scene in our country, and also like music festival, and also like in film as well. So, can you explain like your best well-known work in here so that people are aware who you are as well?
Sure. So I've mostly kept behind the scenes for my 10 years here. Yeah. But when I arrived, I started working with a singer here called Nikki. So Nikki, of course, big star, and that was a time where Nikki was really pushing on quality of production on music, quality of production on music videos and stuff like that. So we connected because my background is I was a singer for 10 years, but I was a heavy metal singer. I was not a pop singer. So there was no like K-pop opera stuff from me. It was like pure on heavy metal, like hardcore stuff. So I had long hair and beard and everything like that. I'm much more clean cut nowadays. But we connected about music, and we said, okay, look, I think Cambodia should have original music. And at the time, it was like the copy music, the bike sloy, all of that stuff. So nothing wrong with that. Before anybody jumps on it, what you like is what you like. Respect, and music is music is about making people feel something as well, just like wrestling. So no disrespect to that, but I thought that Cambodians, if the quality of the music and the quality of music videos, original music was higher, then they would start to listen to it. And then the thinking of that is, you know, Cambodians, when you give them something to feel proud about, they really go for it. So it was, of course, not only us. It was me and Nikki starting doing that. Then, of course, Clap Your Hands had been doing it even before us. And some other companies like Laura had just come to Cambodia then as well, and she was starting to do her music. So there was a lot of people interested in, you know, bringing the industry forward. So that's how I started here, and I stayed behind the scenes, and I did that for many years, and I managed many stars, and I created a lot of music, 250, 300 songs or something like that. So, and then I also worked behind the scenes to bring streaming platforms to Cambodia. So Playing by Smart is a platform. Of course, Smart is the company, but the platform is from India, and it's a partnership I have in India that we brought to Cambodia. So it was another one we recognized that, okay, we can't sell music here. And at the time, monetization of YouTube was like this much. And also like getting stuff on Spotify, Apple, etc. You could get it, but they weren't available in Cambodia. So we were like, okay, Cambodia should have a streaming platform. So it was about building first the industry, the music and the quality, and then the infrastructure. So, and it's still ongoing. And it's been awesome to see, like, over the years, I've moved more behind the scenes on platforms and stuff like that. But to see how the industry has grown and seeing how people like CG Movement have come along, and Vanda has come along, of course, is huge. And a lot of these guys I remember when they were starting, and I'm so like proud of them when I see what they're doing now. And that's kind of what we wanted to do is plant the seeds and let it grow and see what happens. And it was never about like, I was very conscious that I'm a foreigner here. I don't want to have my stupid Irish head at the front of everything going like, I did this. Yeah. I was all about like, do it, step back, let it grow, don't gatekeep anything. Don't be a culture vulture where you're coming in here and cherry picking and being like, oh, it's all me. It was all a collective, and it was all like in the way that the wrestling industry is that you all have the shared goal. You all know where you want to be. You have kind of different opinions on how to get there, but everybody wants to get there. So yeah, and if one person gatekeeps, it limits it. And to use the wrestling example, when there was territories, there was endless creativity and endless options. And then it became the monopoly of only WWF and WCW.
They bought everything.
Yeah, and it bought everything. And then competition, it boomed for a while. Of course, the Attitude Era was huge. But then once WCW folded, it was a bit of a barren period. So like that is always the example I use towards the music industry as well, where if one company controls everything, you're limited by the creative level of them. Competition drives creativity. So when you look at the big production houses here, if you compare those with the kind of the WWF under Vince era, and then the original artists and the original companies and the upstart companies were like the AEWs, the TNAs, etc., to really drive creativity. So and they couldn't match them on budget, but we could beat them on creativity. So that was what it was all about, and it was fun to do. And the music industry and wrestling is so intertwined. It's like what I remember the most was like what I would consider the peak years of WWF. I can't remember if it was F or E at the time. Was like just after the Attitude Era, when it was like Rock versus Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan returning, and that was like every single pay-per-view was wrestling, was music. Limp Bizkit was doing stuff for The Undertaker. Yeah. And then the Creed, My Sacrifice, for all the Desire videos, which was like always really meaningful. So, and then going back even further than that, all the way back to the debut of WrestleMania, it was Vince's idea was rock and wrestling, bringing in these rock people and pop stars to bring in that mainstream crossover. So it was Cyndi Lauper being part of it, and then Mr. T, of course, although he's on the acting side. And he recognized that music and wrestling could be a synergy. So, and like just throughout history, you just see good examples of it like that. And then, of course, there's the bad examples of music and wrestling coming together, like Kiss in WCW, which was awful. And the Kiss Demon, which was the character in that. But it just shows that there was always this connection between music and wrestling. And then later, the movie industry, which I'm new to, so that I'm only been doing that for about a year. And that was because once I stopped managing artists, I was like, okay, I can do something now. Because my logic was you can't be an artist manager and an artist at the same time. Because at some point, there's a conflict of interest. I have to choose between my ego and another person. So I always believed to step back. So once I stopped managing artists, I was like, okay, I can do some other stuff. So, and now you see in the wrestling industry, The Rock has set to
Hollywood.
Yeah. Before that, there was Hulk Hogan in Hollywood. It was bad. It was really bad. And a couple of other examples, and it just didn't work. And but then The Rock started it. Now John Cena is doing really, really well in Hollywood. So, and I think at this point, it's firmly accepted that wrestling is mainstream. You know, it's no longer the carny show of the circus and the carnivals. It's mainstream. It's of course owned by TKO, UFC now. So it's I think we're going to see more and more crossover with music, more and more crossover with movies as well. So but it's just interesting. It's exciting to see how all these industries intertwine.
Cool. Yeah. That's again, it's very insightful. Yeah, because
I'm not talking too much. So.
No, I think it's fine. The floor is on you. Yeah. It's very interesting that I'm also about to ask you as well between like music industry and wrestling, because when we see like the first few WrestleMania, it's almost like no entrance. It's just like an entrance but no music, right?
Yeah.
And then from like WrestleMania 3 or something, when the Undertaker debuted, it is.
No, it was. There was a few wrestlers that were starting to do entrance music, like "Real American" by Hulk Hogan. That was already had started and stuff like that. But it was less, and I think it was there was a wrestler and Gorgeous George, I think, was the one who started the first one to do entrance music, and he was the flamboyant, this flamboyant
like
character,
the first Ric Flair.
Yeah, I mean, like so many people have like there was a few influential people like Buddy Rogers. Ric Flair took a lot of stuff, like was inspired by a lot of that stuff, and then Superstar Billy Graham, a lot of stuff came from him, and then Gorgeous George was the one that really like brought the
rope and everything,
the robes and the character and the music, and tied that all in together. So as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong in this. There might be somebody in the comments going, actually. But I think it was Gorgeous George, and then everybody else started to do slowly. By WrestleMania 3, I think everybody had an entrance at that point.
Yeah.
Again, maybe I'm wrong on that. But it was Vince saw that, okay, there's something there. And of course, then bringing in the music celebrities like Cyndi Lauper to be in the match against with Wendy Richter, I think.
Wendy Richter, yeah.
Yeah, and then over the years, bringing in more people like Alice Cooper popped in at some point, and all these other ones. So it was entrance music brings everything up, and how many examples nowadays of like the pop from when a wrestling theme hit. Like when the Road Warriors, when the whoa, what a rush comes and boom, the Road Warriors pop, and the Undertaker, Stone Cold breaking the glass, the Undertaker, the gong, even Okada with the money drop,
money drop, the coin,
the coin drop. So and like all of these, it's just like, again, music makes you feel something, wrestling makes you feel something, so it makes sense that you put the synergy together.
All right, yeah, interesting. So since we talk about music, so your favorite theme song currently?
So
Can you pick one, or maybe three? I don't know.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah.
So like just mentioning Okada. It's not my favorite theme song, but I was just talking about that with my buddies a couple of days ago.
Click the hook, right?
I like the money drop, and I like the New Japan team. And then I recently, when I was watching AEW, I was trying to listen to his theme song on AEW, and I was like, is it the same? And they've had some sound issues recently, so I couldn't hear it properly. So then finally I just Googled it. I was like, okay, and it's just a bad version of the New Japan one. So it's like a cheapo version of it with like, which is surprising because I think AEW does really good theme songs mostly.
Or they could just buy the right for the music, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they took half the wrestlers. They might as well take the music while they're at it. So, like, it's...
be a long podcast.
Yeah, but it's true, right? And it's like, really, it's like you took Okada, you took Ospreay, you took Jay White. Could you not have taken the music too? But my favorite theme songs over the years, like the Undertaker one. But my favorite version of the Undertaker one is the Ministry of Darkness version, which was like really
way back. Yeah, it's more dark.
Yeah, it's like just super like
superstition.
Heavy metal and driving forward. I loved Bret Hitman Hart's theme song, pure like cheesy 90s guitar, never gets old. CM Punk, Cult of Personality, really like iconic. And I mean, to be fair, that was a famous song before, but it took a whole other identity when
I think people thought it's a new song, but actually it's very old.
Yeah, the old song. But I was because I'm from the rock and heavy metal side. I knew Cult of Personality, so when he came out, I was like, oh, I love that song. So when he first started using it in WWE, I was like, I love that song. That's so cool. But now I'm like, that's CM Punk's theme song, even though I knew it before. And then there's other one, of course, Stone Cold's is iconic. Triple H's My Time. So there was
Yes, like before the Motorhead one.
before the Motorhead one. That one had there's something about it that just was really, really cool. You see, I'm not going to be able to choose three. I'm just going to keep listing them until I stop.
It's okay, yeah. We can keep going. Yeah.
Because there's just so many. And then Gold Dust's theme song, his first theme song, really weird, really like kept with the character. And I think a lot of times back in the day, they would, when they were coming up with these characters, of course, back in the 90s, characters were much more like cheesy, or they're not just a person. They're like Goldust, like Papa Shango, etc. But they considered the character, the image, the music all intertwined.
Just make it missing look mystery.
Yeah, and I thought Goldust was really cool, and Mankind's theme song at that time, before the car crash one, his first one.
I think it's kind of like moody and
yeah,
a little bit of dark character.
Exactly, atmospheric. And Mick Foley talks in his book about what he was hoping for from the Mankind theme song and the character and stuff like that. Like, all of those really, really cool. In modern times, I really liked the Ass Boys, the Gun Club, their theme song. They've changed it now. I don't like.
I think the latest one or
the original one.
I think the one with the I think it's like the siren song. Is it that one? Because the last one is like with the bell.
Yeah, no. So it was the one they were using
when he broke up with his dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that the one with the siren. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it was starts with that, and I love that theme song because it's so like
me too
1980s 1990s like classic. Yeah. And
just like FTR actually. Yeah.
FTR is another one I was going to mention. But what I loved about the Gun Club one was there's a 1 hour or 2 hour version of it on YouTube. And so I'm a gamer, and I was grinding trophies, and I just put that on for an hour, and I was like, it's never going to get old. I love this song. And now they've changed. They have a new theme. I hate it. I completely hate it. And I'm like, please bring it back. Because they had one of the best entrances, the camera going around, the lights, and then this, I don't know why they changed it.
The spotlight, yeah.
But then FTR's Classic, which is a tribute to the Rock and Roll Express.
I think the Midnight Express.
Midnight Express.
Yeah, the Midnight Express. Yeah.
Love that. Completely love that. Then like Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance song, so fucking good. Sorry.
It's okay. We can
it's
swear.
that good.
It's that good. But wait, hold on. For Shinsuke, because they have two versions, right? The other one with the vocals. You think the one with the vocals?
Is it from Lil Uzi? Is it that one?
No, not that one.
It's a Japanese.
When he turned heel,
yeah. So
you think he should use that one now, since he a kill character?
I like the original better because it's very iconic, but I also really love that one. So I think he should switch when he's heel. He should use the one with the Japanese rock band. Yeah, and for face he should use his original one because it's just it's a very face theme song because everybody pops for it. Yeah. And that was at a time when NXT was putting out a lot of really good theme songs. Yeah. Yeah, and there was also like Drew McIntyre's one, which is really, really cool. Everybody loves "Glorious" for
Bobby
Roode. I don't like it. I know it got him over, and everybody loves it. I can't.
I think it's just because it's get people like chanting and just like Seth Rollins. Like.
Yeah. No, I can see the logic behind it. I was just like, I don't get it. But it worked, and then Seth Rollins is another one, and of course then, which reminds the Shield theme song. Of course. When the Sierra Echo, all of that, Sierra Indigo Echo, when that happened, that was another one where as soon as you hear it, you popped. Of course, I'm wearing a Shield T-shirt. Every single time I popped for the Shield, and when Roman continued to use that afterwards, it was a mistake because that was the Shield, and then Roman's new music, so good, so good. Yeah, just like larger than life characters. So, yeah, no. If we end up talking about music theme songs, I could be here for 12 hours. So, but those are all the ones I like. plus.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting. Like again, like to, to everyone to catch up what we're talking about right now, because Brandon, he having a background in working in music industry, so he gonna explain a lot like related to wrestling music and also like our music scene in Cambodia as well. Yeah. moving on. So since we're talking about music, let's talk about entrant. Like
Mhm.
the recent one, like from WrestleMania 40.
Oh,
Which one is your favorite?
oh, that was like leading up to that, because we always know that the WrestleMania entrances are going to be the coolest. I have to give it to Cody, because like all of us, I think every person watching was watching and living it through Cody. So, and I all of every single, or I can't say every fan, but every logical fan at the end of WrestleMania last year just felt like, what just happened? Like, what's going on? And then this one, like when Cody returned first at WrestleMania 2 years ago.
38. Yeah.
Yeah. And that theme song hit, because we were all going, we're sure he's coming, pretty sure.
But the light turned off first. They saw the Undertaker coming out.
Yeah, like, because you never know. WWE is going to swerve us a lot. Like, so. And then we're like, okay, we're pretty sure he's coming, because nobody can keep a secret in the wrestling industry. But how is he going to be presented? And then when wrestling has more than one royal family, oh man, I lost my mind. And at the time, I was a big AEW fan, so I was a bit pissed that he was after leaving. So I was like, fuck that guy, you know, like Judas, blah 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 blah. And but I wanted to see what it would be like. And then that hit, and all my hate was gone completely. I marked out completely. I was like, yeah, Cody, yeah, you're so cool. And then we did the next year, 39, and then they lost, and I was like, what the hell? So this year, when his entrance, there was just like a bigger meaning and a bigger energy to it. So like there was others like Roman's entrance, Rock's entrance, that had maybe a bigger oomph to it. But Cody just had everybody here, and that what makes it iconic, and why like all of us were walking the ramp with him, going, okay, this has to be the year. They can't screw this again. They can't, like, it has to happen. So that's what made it really, really meaningful. But WrestleMania themes are just, and entrances are just like always like special. I think the Undertaker's entrances over the years, obviously he didn't have he appeared in this one, he didn't have an entrance in this one, but Undertaker entrances at WrestleMania were always a highlight. Well, like, how are they going to do it? And one of the things to mention Okada, because there was a point where we thought maybe Okada could come to WWE. All I could think was that coin drop at WrestleMania. And his entrance. Oh man, it would have been worth, like, whatever they did with him afterwards. That would have been worth it, because it just would have been like I've watched him perform so many times at in the New Japan shows, and he's made for a big venue. He's made for like this, like, big spectacle.
Yes,
he's a larger than life guy or whatever.
Wrestle Kingdom,
Yes, exactly. So and one of my goals is to go to a Wrestle Kingdom show. So that's on my bucket list. And so I thought, okay, I think he's probably going to go to AEW, but he should go to WWE for that entrance, for that coin drop. And whatever version WWE would have created of his theme song, I'm sure it would have been better than the shitty version he's using now in AEW. But I was like, oh, please, just for that. You can go to AEW afterwards. You can go back to New Japan. Please give us a WrestleMania moment with Okada's.
We'll see in the next 3 or 5 years. Maybe his contract ends, and then. But I'm not sure if he's still like in his prime, after 5 years.
Yeah, well, like, just watching what they're doing with him now. And
well, I mean, they try to be entertainment company, isn't it?
I thought, well, this is the confusing
you
part.
see this week, Chris Jericho with Shibata, isn't it? It's insane. It's entertaining.
Get into it then. Let's get into AEW.
Yeah, I know. I can feel he's ready for it. So, like, the thing is, AEW is supposed to be sports based. Like, this is supposed to be much more about wrestling. And this is even their cheesy. There's opinions coming. Even his, like, the latest cheesy tagline that they have is, "Where the best wrestlers wrestle." Okay, for most of the last 5 years, that's probably true. But now there's stuff like the Shibata is such a good wrestler, and Shibata's literally came back from a life-threatening injury because he headbutted the guy for real and got a brain aneurysm or whatever, blood clot. And so he's coming back, and he's so talented. And New Japan were worried about clearing him because of health issues, so he went to AEW, and they have him doing this joke stuff with.
Well, still using his
Jericho.
head with the trash can, isn't it?
Well, that may be part of it, but like just considering his injury was so serious, we always think like there's probably a limit on how many matches he can realistically do for his coming career. To waste even one of those on a gimmick match with
Or a weekly TV episode.
that if it was like going against like an Osprey or a Danielson or a and where it's like it plays his strengths, which is technical and everything like that. But a garbage match with Jericho, who nobody cares about anymore, and who should really go away.
FTW champion.
Yeah. Who should really go away. And I was a Jericho fan for a long time, and Jericho was legitimately the most important thing in AEW at the start. The first year, everything he did was gold.
He's a world champion first, yeah.
Yeah, and he was doing great, and like a little bit of the bubbly went viral, and like he sold like champagnes and all. Everything he did, he was gold. And then over the last 4 years, it's been bad. The Cloud Vampire, where he's just the anybody who's starting to go up, they get into a feud with Jericho, and that's the end of their push. It happened to MJF at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, he rehabilitated himself. Ricky Starks, and I love Ricky Starks, and there's completely wasting him. And then like how many other wrestlers along the way?
Daniel Garcia.
Yeah. Anybody who got into the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Dinner Circle, and Dinner Circle is Jim Cornette's name for him. Dinner Circle. And it's just like when you see Shibata doing that, and you're just like, oh God. And even like we're full in AEW bitching right now because I watched it yesterday.
Okay.
I watched it yesterday, and I'm like, this cosplay parody version of the NWO, like that they're trying to do.
Don't you think with all the, I just want to hear from you. Do you think that with all the money they sign all this, like superstar, and the amount of money they spend with all this entertainment that they try to do, don't you think they should like put some money into writing and the story, get the great people that really responsible for all those storylines from WWE. I'm sure they have those kind of money.
Yeah.
The amount that they paid Okada, they can spend something, just cut off some of the member in the roster and then just put in the writing.
I agree. Yeah, like the way it is in AEW now is you have arguably a lot of the best wrestlers in the world, no doubt. Danielson, Osprey, Okada, etc. And there's no meaningful storylines, and when Punk was there, and every AEW fan, as soon as you mention Punk, they're like, "Who fuck that guy?" Yeah. But Punk, every single like some of the most legendary times and legendary stories in AEW was Punk's stuff. His stuff with MJF, his stuff with Eddie Kingston, and so on. And Eddie's a good example because Eddie is like not the best wrestler in the world, physically not in the best shape in the world, but he connected with the audience like in such a meaningful way, and his reward for that. So he did the CM Punk feud, and arguably he did better on the mic than CM Punk, which doesn't happen. I agree. Yeah, it doesn't happen. But he was so good, and his reward for that was to get into a feud with the Cloud Vampire with Jericho, and just, then it just went off in nowhere. Yes, so, and then like Tony Khan was talking about like he's doing the what was that Continental Classic, the tournament, and he kept talking about the tournament is so different, it has draws, it has this, it has that. 0 draws in the whole tournament, so which is fine, but he made the point about the draws. Like he was like, it's like the Premiership, because he owns Fulham Football Club. He was like, it's like the Premiership, there can be draws, we're doing points, blah 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 blah. We're like, okay, it's another tournament, they have a lot of tournaments, but let's give it a try. Tony Khan seems really excited about this. And there was no draws. I'm like, then why did you make it such a point in every press conference and every call, like, it has draws, 0 draws. And then they made it to Triple Crown with the Ring of Honor title, the New Japan Strong title, and the Continental. Is it Continental?
Yeah. International.
Is it? So many titles. And they made this Triple Crown, which I thought was a bad idea at the time because the Ring of Honor World title has such prestige. You know, Samoa Joe and Punk and Danielson over the years. And so I thought that was a mistake. But then 6 weeks later, they dissolved the Triple Crown. I'm like, then why did we do this? Like, what are you doing? And that's the problem. There's no, like, direction completely. And even what they're doing now with the cosplay NWO, the like copy version of the NWO, like, they could have done this when Punk was there. And they could have played on the real life stuff. They could have done business in the right way. And it would have been meaningful. They would have had the divide of, like, people would have taken sides. Like, I would have been like, I'm Punk's side. And then other people would have been like, no, I'm on the Bucks side. I'm on the Elite side. Yeah. So, and there would have been so many things to play off. Like, the Elite, where it would be technically heels, will say, but then they could say, we founded AEW. You're coming in and as Punk, you're coming into. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so much to play on. It could have been perfect. And instead they waited until everybody had forgotten about it. Punk goes to WWE, is doing such good stuff there. And then he does an interview where he was, I thought, quite fair. And he was like, hey, this is the way it is. And they got upset about it and created this whole angle and brought Jingle Bitch back, Jungle Boy back, and showed the footage. And it's just, like, all embarrassing. And it's like, you can see that it's Tony Khan booking everything, but you can see the Elite has his ear, and you know that the Bucks are like, this is going to be the best heat, like, this is going to bring really good heat. Oh, Christ. So to your point, yes, please just hire some creative people. Like, it can't be Tony, like, writing like he's still in his room as a teenager.
A lot of people who, like, working from WWE, working behind the scenes. I don't know why they not able. Even Dean Malenko, and Jerry Lynn and stuff. I mentioned that before as well.
It seems like they're agents. It seems like they're more like agents and producers. So they're, as I understand it from the businesses, like, they'll produce the matches. And again, oftentimes the matches are not the problem in AEW. They're good. There's not always good, but we can say that in general, the wrestling on an AEW show is very good quality.
Yeah, it's just the production to me.
Yeah, exactly. So these producers are, like, working with the wrestlers to do the finishes, the matches, and the spots and everything like that. And they seem to be good. So then the booking seems to be mostly Tony Khan. And then they've brought in some writers here and there. But, like, for example, Mercedes Moné is a good example of, they brought in her writer from WWE. So they hired this lady who Mercedes worked with in WWE. So she writes her promos. But it's been bad. It's been really, really bad. And because, and this is where the booking fails the talent. So Mercedes is, I thought, one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE. Like, her look, her style, her wrestling. Yeah, she's really, really good. And I always thought that she was probably not given a good enough run in WWE because she would win the title, she would never defend it, and she would lose. So when she was talking up about her going off to New Japan and doing her thing, I was like, yeah, good for her. And then when she debuted in AEW, I was like, okay, this is good. But the booker is the one who decides what she's doing. So she's never been a good promo. And that's not her skill. That's not her talent. And they've had her done promo after promo after promo. And that's the booker. Like, that's the one saying, what we're going to do this week? We're going to have you in a segment that you're going to talk. And she's done, what, 5 or 6?
5, 6 already.
We haven't seen her in a match yet, right?
Apparently, she's not cleared medically, apparently. So she still has her injury, but so she'll debut at Double or Nothing. But it's like, then why? Debut her, then let her until she's ready. Let her.
I think the worst one is the backstage interview.
Oh,
and
my
then
God.
like the blackout, and then she like People say she's moaning.
Yeah, Mercedes Moan as Jim Cornette's Jim Cornette. This is so a lot of Jim Cornette comes up with nicknames for everybody, and I love his podcast. Him and Dutch Mantel are my two favorite podcasts, and he just calls her Mercedes Moan, and when that happened, it was like this is what was weird about that. When she did her promos in the ring, they were bad. But they're live, so you're like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's live. Yeah.
Then she did a backstage one, so it's taped. How is it still bad? Like, and like, how many takes were done, and that was the best one? Like, how were the other ones? Like, like, you know, these are all falling on the booker to decide, like, what should they be doing, and it, considering that generally speaking, what AEW does is they take their wrestlers and they put them in match after match after match after match. And there's a criticism to that as well, because it's just endless matches and no storyline. But at least they're showing what they can do. Like, that's what they're doing with Ospreay and so on. With Mercedes Moné, they did the exact opposite. They just were like, let's do no matches. Let's just put her in interviews, which she was never good at.
Yeah.
And made her a face, and she's never been a fantastic face. She's always been better as a heel. So every single part of it, maybe she has creative control. Like, maybe we're being a bit unfair to Tony and saying that she's deciding this.
Yeah, she decided herself.
But there's been enough examples of wrestlers that could have been used a lot better and let down by the booking. And the people who are really over now, like Swerve got over on his own. Like, the booking didn't do that. Like, he got himself over. And even MJF got himself over. All of these guys who have really been the breakout stars in AEW, it wasn't the booking. It was sheer will.
Yeah, just like Brian in WWE. Isn't
yes,
it?
exactly. It's like it was an organic thing. Yeah, exactly. So I think if Tony could put aside his ego for a little bit and let somebody else book it, or at the very least, there was a very brief example of when it worked, when he allowed Punk to book Collision or have some creative input on Collision. Collision felt different from Dynamite, and it was a better show. And then, of course, he got fired. So, but that just proved, like, you can have a different feel. And as soon as he was gone, Dynamite and Collision became the same show. So I just stopped watching it because I'm like, like, Dynamite is at times a struggle to watch already. Now I also have to watch another 2 hours in Collision and an hour for Rampage. And I stopped watching Rampage a long time ago. So.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Rampage just feel like AW Dark and Elevation to me.
Yeah, and it could have been like when it launched, like when that started, it was huge because they made it like
they have a major star in there, like, you know, represent each show, like you know, Miro, Kid Lee, and then like even both of them are gone now. I have no idea where they've been.
Yeah,
even there's no explanation, like even.
Went to the Hall of Fame, right?
Even like injuries or story wise, like no explanation at all.
Yeah, apparently both of them are injured, but it's like, again, there's no explanation. And if you're going to have, Miro is a great example of when he was doing the Redeemer stuff. That was so when he first came to AEW, he was doing that like
the best man,
and it could have been good. It could have been good.
Yeah,
it could have been good. But like if they had done like a modern version of Mr. Perfect, it would, like, could have been really, really cool. And instead they made him like this, just like
the partner of who is it again?
Kip Sabian.
Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
Kip Sabian.
And it just didn't work. And they had it in a feud with the
Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy and the best friend. Or as again Jim Cornette calls him, the Lollipop Guild and the mascot. So and then he came back as a Redeemer, and that was so good, like so over. But it didn't book him in anything. So it would like and that was around the time they signed a lot of people. So it was like him, Malachi Black, and a couple of others who were like, when they were on the show, Andrade was another one. They're on the show, we were like, this is so good.
Even Roosh,
yes, exactly. And you would see them, they would have something really cool. Everybody interested, and like, okay, cool, see you again in 6 weeks.
And like, now Roosh, they dropped Roosh to Collision. He's no longer on Rampage now.
Roosh is so good, and Roosh and Andrade and Roosh are like close. You know, they're in global.
Are they real life sibling?
No. As far as I remember, it's Roosh is the brother of Dragon Lee.
Oh yeah.
Who went to WWE, and their uncle is the one who founded LFI in
Alright.
Mexico back in the day,
Okay.
and Andrade has been part of that since back then as teammates or whatever.
Yeah.
And Naito in New Japan was also part of that. That's why he's LFI Japan, because when he did his excursion in Mexico, and he was training with those guys. So all tied together. So now Dragon Lee has gone to WWE.
Yeah.
Andrade has gone back to WWE. I would love to see Rush in WWE. I don't know if his style would work for WWE, but maybe with the Triple H era.
If he could, build up more character
Mhm.
development, I think Rush would be fit in either SmackDown or NXT.
Because he's so good at being a dickhead. Like, he's just such an asshole. Like, naturally an asshole. And I'd love to see him doing the full on proper old school heel stuff on WWE. So especially with Triple H booking him, because Triple H is a really good old school heel.
Yeah.
So having him booking Rush and LFI overall, if they brought, they'd have to do a different name, but if they did that in WWE, it would be so cool. I would love it.
Yeah. I mean, here you go. This should be the title for our podcast this episode. AW Doom. Right.
I hope they improve, but it won't.
Well,
It won't until Tony Khan puts aside the ego. And now that he's appearing in angles, I don't think the ego is going to get better. It's going to get worse. So
Well, I mean, he's an on-screen character now.
it was so bad.
We'll see when he's not getting better.
Ugh.
Okay, so let's drift aside a little bit
Yeah.
from AEW.
We'll talk
So
for days.
let's talk about Hollywoods and the Hollywood acts and in the wrestling industry. How is it related? We discussed about Rock and Cena, in Hollywood scenes, and Batista as well. But also you a part of in film recently as well. So sharing your experience and connected to wrestling, what do you see any similarities and or how close that we can get?
I think in the past, like we said, when The Rock was doing it, when Hulk Hogan was doing it and other things, it was like you could see that wrestling and movies didn't fit at the time. And they did WCW, the No Holds Barred movie, which is cheesy, like for us as wrestling fans. I don't know if you've seen the No Holds Barred WCW movie. It's so bad. It's horribly bad. But as wrestling fans, you're going to like it.
Did you see the Ready to Rumble? It's also the WCW wrestler as well.
Oh, maybe no. Sorry, then I might be wrong. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. I think No Holds Barred is another one. It's
Ready to Rumble.
It's so bad, but as a wrestling fan, it's so bad it's good. So but of course that's not going to cross into mainstream. And then nowadays, when you see like The Rock and John Cena and Batista surprised me. I have to say, he wasn't one that I would have thought would go mainstream, but I mean, he's considered now arguably the best actor out of the three of them. And John Cena has been praised in Hollywood for his
The Peacemaker character.
Because his ad-libbing, like he can just act on the spot and he's creative in his input and stuff like that. So improving. And that, like, wrestling should prepare people for being able to do that, think on their feet, because you're doing it live how many shows a year. Yeah. So I think now with The Rock, Cena, and Batista being credible people, and Endeavor Group are originally like a Hollywood agency. So I think we're going to see more and more and more now people crossing over. Mercedes, despite her acting skills in wrestling, she's in The Mandalorian and other things like that as well. So I think there's a few people who will cross over. I think Cody Rhodes will eventually end up, and he's shooting a movie now, I think. Or
is he also in a show before, so in Arrowverse, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, and he's friends with the Arrow actor guy. Amell, I think. I can't remember
his name.
Stephen Amell, yeah. So, and that's why he showed up at
SummerSlam back then.
Yeah, but also he wrestled on All In.
Survivor Series?
He wrestled, I think it was a tag team match.
Tag team match and Survivor Series, I think.
Yeah.
Was it Survivor?
No, that back then. But I mean, when Cody left the company, he attacked him with Cody.
Yeah, I think that was maybe All In.
I think it's All In.
The first All In. So, and but now Cody's been chosen. He's been cast in some movie. So we're going to see Cody start the crossover. I think Cody has the talent and the vision and creativity to do it as well, and the look as well. He looks like a movie star. And so I think
I think you also have John Moxley was also the main character of a movie, right? I
Really?
remember there was one.
Well, I think
It's like a
Seth Rollins right now is doing some stuff with Marvel.
I heard about it.
Superhero stuff, yeah. Like in some of the new series that they're gonna put on Disney Plus. Seth Rollins could be
Seth
a good villain.
It is.
Yeah.
He is a villain in
Like a
that
Joker
one.
type of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joker.
He did
He did a Joker.
Joker. Yeah, he did
Yeah, he
Joker
did,
in
he
one of
did.
the promo things. So,
John Moxley has a movie in 2020 called Cage Fighter. It's basically an MMA movie. An MMA movie. And there's another 12 rounds actually. You know 12 rounds? The movie. Yeah, WWE studio.
oh yeah.
We have there was John Cena and then Randy Orton, right? And then
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose. John Moxley. The Miz
And
as
Miz
well,
was on
right?
as well, yeah. But personally, I think Dean Ambrose is a much better actor than John Moxley. Much better wrestler as well. But I think with Endeavor Group, you're going to see, because it's their business and they're a Hollywood agency, I think we're going to see more and more and more. And it's in their interest to create these stars. And now, of course, The Rock is on the TKO board of directors. He owns his own production company as well. And
Roman right now on break and then doing TV show as well.
yeah, Roman is another one that's going to definitely cross over. Of course, The Rock is going to look out for his cousin. So
I mean, he appeared on Fast and Furious, right?
Oh, did he?
He did. Hop and
Oh,
Shaw,
okay.
yeah, Hop and Shaw, not like the full Fast and
Mm.
Furious one.
So
It's a cameo. He didn't talk anything.
yeah.
No script.
I mean, that's a good place to start. Like most
Right.
people, when they're starting in movies, that's how they start. My first appearance in a movie was I was brought in as an extra to sit in the audience, and then when I was there, they were like, "Do you want some lines?" And I went, "Yeah, okay." and I ended up being the MC introducing the character, so I had 2 lines.
Right.
But that's how it starts. And then in the next movie after that, I had 3 lines or something like that. So like that, and then you build up more and you end up as the bigger characters. But so like it just gets you more comfortable with the set and how you do things and because like to see on the wrestling side again, you do it all live. When you're shooting a movie, you have to shoot each scene like with 6, 7, 8 different
Right.
angles. So and it is a bit weird because you're like you're dropping in, you're straight into character while Roman is his character, and in wrestling they are their characters. When you're doing the movie, you have to become another person. That was, and I'm not a wrestler, of course, but coming from the music industry, that was my main feedback when I started doing the movies. Was in the music industry, as you do in wrestling, you try to make you a larger than life, as big character of you as you can.
Right.
And then when you're in a movie, you're like, yeah, forget you, be this other person. And sometimes the character you're playing is a smaller personality than you are in real life. So you have to like tone yourself down, and
Yeah.
it's weird. And so I think that's why Hulk Hogan didn't work,
Mm.
because Hulk Hogan,
From a big to a small character.
yeah, Hulk Hogan doesn't ever step out of character. Like, you know, Hulk Hogan's always about Hulk Hogan. So for him to step back and be another character, I don't think was ever going to work. So, but Rock, professional, knows what he's doing, and then Cena seems to be a very humble, very professional guy. That's the difference.
That's why. That's why you think most people, and I have to admit, I was one of them, that think that agree with you that Dave Bautista and John Cena are technically a better actor than Rock, because every movie Rock in, it feels like I see the Rock. Yeah, there's a meme that he wears the same similar T-shirt and the same facial expression from each movie, but you see all the work that Cena put in, and that's why he actually make it work in the comedy movie. It's so hard to be in a comedy movie, and he have a comedy character, and he actually went viral. And you see the character like Batista in the new Dune movie, and all this movie, the Guardian of the Galaxy one. Yeah,
Every character he
Yeah.
played.
to me, I think wrestling fan, like the movie fan maybe, but the wrestling fan not giving Cena, and I think Dave maybe, but Cena enough credit as an actor. Yeah, I think he's quite a good actor himself. Do you think?
I think you're 100% right. And like Cena, even myself, when the first few Cena appearances in movies, I was like, yeah, it's just John Cena.
Is that also because sorry to cut you? Is that also because during that time, like he was still with WWE, and
Yeah.
also like WWE have the production, so it's like the Marine and stuff.
Yeah,
Is that because also of that as well?
that would definitely, because I didn't watch any of
I
the
haven't
WWE
watched
Studios
it,
one,
yeah.
but even when, for sure, that was part of it, because like they were still like, that was a side project to his wrestling
side
thing.
project, yeah.
But even when he was appearing in, like, I think he's in the Bumblebee movie of Cena, and it still felt like it was
Right.
John Cena in a movie, and that's kind of he was still being John Cena on TV. So, and I think he talks about it where in one of his interviews where he said he needed to separate from the industry so he could be an actor and not have to be in his character all the time. And that's when he really started to get better and better and better. And Batista has also spoken about it where he said he needed to commit 100% to
That's why he
to
retired
acting.
as well.
Yeah, like part of it is his body. You notice that Batista slimmed down. He doesn't have to
Getting smaller. Yeah.
to bulk up anymore. And in the now you see that Batista and Cena are playing different characters each time, and like they're being able to have a lot more creativity in the roles they choose. The Rock is an interesting one because I think Rock is probably a more polished actor overall, but he's wrapped up in such a big. When he was just starting out, he was doing The Scorpion King. He was doing Walking Tall. He was starting to do comedy movies, etc. He did Doom.
The Disney.
Yeah, but nowadays he's his own brand, and I watched a documentary about it where he's like he has his PR team behind him, and like everything he ever does, everything he posts, everything he does is like it's all part of feeding this brand. And so because of that, now the movies that he does, it has to be about The Rock. And so even though he's arguably a more polished actor overall, you can see that he's so stuck in this larger than life company and brand that he can't go off brand anymore. And that's why this last run was so refreshing, because he had it all planned out. I'm going to come in, everybody's going to love me, I'm going to take Cody's spot, it's going to be great. And then everybody was like, no. So, and then he went full heel, and I didn't think he would do that, but it was so good. And what that shows is that if he's takes him out of this, like the PR companies decided everything for you thing, and just his talent, he's so good. So
That's what made him over in the first place. Exactly. It's those like heel the 2003 run. Those like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then like
The Hollywood Rock. Yeah.
you see the career is getting better after those time. Like the movie that we have, and then after after Fast Five, we just get the same guy. Over and over. Sometimes he's shaved, sometimes it's not, but it's the same guy.
Yeah, but still, I think that's also like a parallel to when Batista come back as well, right? When we're talking about brand, having the Yes movement, and then Batista come back, and then people thought, oh, Batista win the Royal Rumble, and then he gonna be like a champion, and then we're gonna turn him face. Yeah, and then
Blue Tista.
The fan took over, right? The Yes movement and so on, and then Bryan, win the Undisputed, and then Batista end up, retire after that.
Yeah, and it's like at some point, like wrestling fans take a lot of shit, especially WWE under Vince. Yeah, like WWE under Vince would at times like almost insist on going against the fans.
Yeah.
And that's why the Yes movement was so like real and organic. It's why CM Punk's pipe bomb promo was so real and organic. And then this one, Cody being the one that everybody could relate to, was because he was doing what we all should do. He said it himself. He's like, he bet on himself. He bet on himself to leave WWE and do his own thing. And he did what we all want to do, which is bet on ourselves and make it a success. That's why it wasn't just Cody winning. It was all of us winning with Cody. It was all of us winning with CM Punk. It was all of us winning with Daniel Bryan. And that's why The Rock coming in was like, no, fuck you. We're not doing that. And if he'd waited a year, or even if a couple of years ago, we would have all gone for it. But it was like, no, you're not taking this away from Cody, but more to the point, you're not taking this away from all of us. we're all living this, and you're
Even
not
we
taking it
see
away.
we see Cody reaction on SmackDown as well, right? When he shake hand with The Rock and then The Rock whisper in his ear.
Yeah, that
It's
was
like
a
we
weird
can see his
segment.
reaction. I think it's very sure that Cody also a bit disappointed as well.
Yeah, Cody
It's
did
like,
that.
Oh, it shouldn't happen like this.
Cody presented that really well because I like it's been said that like they weren't planning to go back on it. Like that was what was going to happen. Cody was going to go against Rollins,
Rollins,
and
yeah.
and but Cody played that perfectly because if he had come like no problem and walked off without the reaction, without the expression, we would have been like, well, Cody doesn't believe in himself either. So instead, you could see that. He's
like
pissed
the
too.
worst
He's sad
WrestleMania
too. It's
ever.
like he's getting screwed. Let's get behind Cody and blah blah blah. And like it was credit to The Rock and credit to Triple H and all of them
The
that
whole team, yeah.
they knew to pivot, and it ended up being better than it could have been. So it was like the lead up to that. I was every single segment. I was like, and even The Rock stuff on social media, like that's so like a 20-minute promo.
He done it a live show.
Yeah,
just
20-minute
go
promo on Twitter. And
Marketing masterclass.
yes.
So something that every brand,
Yeah.
every like media, like a movie maker should learn from.
And it finally took The Rock from this like sterile planned PR machine to being like, that's the guy. That's the guy who we arguably was one of the greatest of all time. You know, that's that guy.
Yeah.
Now we remember, because when he came back as The Rock with his like face and catchphrases, and we're like, yeah, okay, it's cute, but it's like it's cute and all, but it's like it's really outdated. You know, when he came back as the face Rock, and we're like, yeah, okay, Dwayne, you know,
With the catchphrase and everything.
yeah, it's like okay, cool, like that for a one-off appearance that works, but if you're going to be part of a program, that's not going to work. So because what's he going to do? Come out every week and like
I think he's smart. He knew what's gonna happen. He's smart, yeah.
And very importantly, it took it away from his Hollywood PR company because he's managed by his ex-wife. And she's a very, very smart, very powerful manager and PR person. And then he has his PR team, and then he has his production company. They don't have any control over WWE, of course. He did bring in his guy, Brian Gerwitz, and so he was in there to work on stuff. But Brian Gerwitz is a former WWE writer as well. So that's why it worked. You know, if his PR machine were sitting there going, sorry, it doesn't work for us because, you know, we have to also consider the tequila brand, and we have to also consider the energy drink brand, and the blah, 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 blah. This was like, okay, you're back in WWE. Be who you were that made you who you were. And you could see even the Rock was having fun with it as well. That's like, I'm sure he was probably a bit tired of this, like, everything planned PR machine that he has to be all the time.
Yeah,
So-
even people said he off character sometimes when he like doing a live show, like when he beat up Cody at the backstage by the bus as well.
Oh,
People
yeah.
said he, like, screw the system or screw the production. Like, I'm doing this on my
Yeah, what was it like? They said they were doing the call for the end of the show.
yeah.
And it's like, fuck your.
Yeah, it's like
I was like, and you know, they're still filming, so we know it's still part of the show. But
Yeah.
because it was so unexpected, and because it was so different, and because he did it so convincingly, you can suspend belief. You will be like, I'm in this moment. I know this is still a show. I don't even care. This is so good, and that's what wrestling at its best is, when you can suspend belief. So, yeah, hopefully the run.
and his expression is just everything.
Yeah, it's such a good run. So hopefully more of that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so speaking, just connecting to the movie and stuff.
Mhm.
Have you watched the Iron Claw yet?
Not yet. Not yet. I really want
Ah.
to, because the Von Erichs and all of their story is one of the most tragic stories in wrestling. So I really want to watch it, but I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I seen it. It's alright. It's not like any action movie or anything. It's more like of a
Biopic.
yeah, like based on real life story.
Yeah.
So everything is a bit sad, of course.
The back when the Texas Tornado in WWF, that was Kerry Von Erich. I was a big fan of him. I didn't know who he was. I was just a kid watching wrestling, but he was like this big, huge, clean-cut guy, and
Right.
that was the image back then. And then later years, when I started learning about the old territories and learning about Japanese wrestling and Mexican wrestling and so on, and I learned about the Von Erich family and the world class championship wrestling, and their story, and I was like, wow, that is like tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And so I the reason I haven't watched the Iron Claw yet is because I know it's gonna be like emotional feeling.
Right.
So I'm like, I really have to be like
Emotionally prepared.
Emotionally prepared.
Yeah, exactly. I need to watch that knowing I'm gonna feel like sad
Something.
afterwards. Like, so
Right.
Well, I mean, some movies it's be like that. Right?
it for sure. But this is like again, because wrestling characters connect with people at a different level.
Yes.
Like, and you know, there's the wrestling industry that we see on camera, and then there's the wrestling industry. Sorry, I'm killing all your cameras. I'm sorry, not sorry. But the stories behind the scenes in the wrestling industry, like there's the on screen stories, and then there's behind the scenes, which are so tragic. Like there's so many, like the Dark Side of the Ring episodes, and all of these different things where you just like
addictions and
like the half of the wrestlers that were in ECW and their tragic demise, and then the Von Erichs is probably the most tragic story of all of them, and so I need to mentally prepare myself for.
Right.
I'm probably going to go back today because now I've been talking about wrestling for however long it's been. I'm going to go back and watch it and be like, need the ice cream and chocolate and make myself feel better. So
well, it's a weekend also.
yeah, so I don't need to be mentally prepared for anything other than like just like
Relaxing.
exactly. So yeah, I have it down. I would say downloaded. I have it legitimately bought from legitimate means. Someone because it's an Amazon movie, right? So
I think HBO.
yeah.
Is it?
So
I forgot.
which
I
we
watched
don't
it-
have here.
I watched
So
on private.
Hulu maybe.
I watched on pirate. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
So that's what. Okay. So that's why I say I download and I'm like, oh wait, download legitimately. For anybody outside of Cambodia, we don't have HBO, we don't have Hulu, we don't have Amazon, we don't have anything.
pirate.
Yeah.
I wish it's in the cinema.
Yeah. So don't judge us. Fuck your opinion.
Hey, speaking of show, you know what I've been catching up on lately? The rivalry. Oh, it's so good. A&E, yes. Like some people post, they chop the part up and put it on YouTube. So I watch a clip. You know, they do like Roman and Brock. They do like Rock and Stone Cold, Rock and Hogan. But the best one that I see, you know, on the bus back from my hometown, the Hardy Boy, Dudley Boy, and Agent Christian, the trilogy of the ladder match, like 1.5 hour of like masterpiece, amazing. You guys should check it out.
I already watched it.
Yeah,
Add it to my list now of things to watch.
that's so good. That's so good, and it's quite fun as well. It's like back to back, and the storyline and the input, and then leading up to the Hall of Fame speech, the Dudley Boy Hall of Fame speech where they bring it. It's very good. Like things like that. I think great storytelling, and then get to watch and recap. My plan is like to go through all the rivalry. I probably not the Roman and Brock one because it's so new, but they have like Rock and Rock and Stone Cold. Now I might be going back to that one first. I think a lot of story that I might forget. So that's very good. Yeah.
I'm gonna add that to the list of things I have to legitimately get from legitimate means and not pirate at all.
Yeah. By the way, about the Iron Claw one, so I was actually surprised when I saw like AEW. You know, like they want to promote the movie, like marketing the movie, but it was AEW. I was expecting WWE to do something like that first. And what do you think about that one? Like they going through AEW instead.
It's what I understood was because MJF is in the movie.
Yeah, he's like extra, very little.
Yeah.
I did not recognize at first until they saw a clip on YouTube. It's like, wait, that was MJF.
Yeah,
That's why he was at the movie.
He had a larger part. Apparently, it was cut down in editing or whatever. He's another one of the brothers because there was more of the family that ended up dying also that they didn't include in the movie because, and I was reading about it, is that the writer or director of the movie said there was so much tragedy in real life that it was too much for a movie, which is so weird or crazy that it's more, the real story is more tragic than the real one. Yeah, there was I think he was played Mike Von Erich or Lance Von Erich. I don't remember which one, but
okay.
There was, but one or two more of the brothers died as well. So in real life, and MJF is an executive producer on it. But usually executive producer in a movie doesn't do a lot. It just means that he's famous in his own right, so it's probably negotiated as part of a deal.
I see.
Like that's why Vince McMahon is the executive producer of the Scorpion King movie, because The Rock was still signed to WWE at the time.
Right,
so
right.
but it made sense then that it tied in with AEW to do the marketing and stuff like that, and they had the Von Erichs come and appear on the show, which is pretty cool. I didn't think WWE would touch that because it's such a tragic and drug-filled kind of story.
Because of the history of the company as well, and the way they treat the Von Erich family as well.
Yeah.
So I think they don't want to, make any connection.
Yeah.
Just like Bret Hart back then as well, like until they,
I think probably now with Triple H, it's possible. Yeah.
Yes.
But at that point, Vince was still involved, and Vince never wanted to admit that anything outside of the WWE universe exists.
Yeah.
So under Vince, I would say it was never going to happen. Maybe now under Triple H for future projects, I think we're going to see it more and more.
Yeah.
He has so much respect for the industry as a whole.
Right. I mean, in the movie they also mentioned like Ric Flair and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Of the movie.
Because that was one of the big territories, and Rick would have been there, and Dusty would have gone there, and all of these guys from the NWA side of things would have gone to wrestle in world class championship wrestling.
Well, let's just say before WWE buying all the territory.
Yeah.
It's just like WWE, just like a small company as well. Back then.
Yeah.
And the Von Erich, they create their own promotion, and then like they very strong competitor. So this is maybe one of the reasons.
They were one of the biggest. They were the Texas territory, so they had a huge market, and like they were one of the big ones. And then Fritz Von Erich was the father, and he's the one who started it. And then they were at their peak because he had all these like sons who were big talents, and then the first guy.
The grandson. Grandson.
Yeah, they're in the
They're
industry.
still in MLW.
Yeah, and they did the appearance on AEW for a show as well. So yeah, it was such a big territory, but unfortunately WWE under Vince refused to acknowledge that territories even existed, which is sad.
Damn, to think about that, I'm sorry guys to say this, but I think one day we might see the Chris Benoit movie.
I thought so.
We might.
I thought so. It's still for 8 now, so who knows? I mean, even
Damn.
like some fan didn't really know like what really happened, so they may dig in and then bring it up into a movie or something. Who knows?
It's getting dark now, but I just think that tragic. We keep talking about it, tragic. Damn, I keep thinking, wow.
You know about Chris Benoit? I think it was the night before he died. There's like a small clip segment he did, and it was appear like on TV and stuff. People thought it was just part of the show, part of the segment. He said something like his family will not watch the show the next episode, something like that.
Wow.
I saw that clip. Like he said it like my son, my kid, my wife will not watch this show and stuff because it's going to be bad, like brutal. So everybody just thought that the next match he will be in is like brutal. That's what people thought. But no, they just died. That's it.
It's I agree that I think they'll do a movie eventually, a biopic, but I don't think it'll be soon. I think it will be many years in the future when things have healed. But this is a question for you guys, because I get asked this by friends sometimes. Do you think Chris Benoit will ever be in the Hall of Fame?
All right, yeah.
I
don't think so, to be honest, because I heard I heard like we used to discuss about it before actually. We think that Hall of Fame is only for, I mean he killed his family, so that's why WWE never approved him to be the Hall of Fame. Sure. Yeah.
But there's the argument that people say. I personally don't think he should be in, but what people are saying is like there's the wrestler deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, even if the person doesn't. But I think Paul Heyman kind of summarized it, because Paul Heyman said something similar. Yeah. But what Paul Heyman said is you cannot put Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame before you put Nancy in the Hall of Fame, because Nancy was a woman. She was
she also involved in wrestling as well.
Yeah, she was a great valet and manager for a lot of people. She was managing Sandman in ECW. Kevin Sullivan, which was our ex-husband, in multiple places. I think she was also with Stone Cold when he was stunning Steve Austin or whatever. So she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So any conversation about Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame can't happen until Nancy is in the Hall of Fame for multiple years and recognized for it. Because in this situation is right now, she's not in the Hall of Fame because they can't mention her without mentioning Chris Benoit. And that's fucked up because she deserves to be in it. So that's Paul Heyman's answer. And generally speaking, Paul Heyman's answer is the right answer for everything because Paul Heyman's a genius.
I agree. I also think that, oh my God, how to put it in this way. And I want to hear all your thoughts about, not to speak about that, I think he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame on a personal reason, but also technically you can make a case that, hey, Hall of Fame is not for everybody. Yeah, there's a sacrifice you need to become a Hall of Fame. You have to be a great wrestler, but also you need to stay away from a crazy thing as well. Like otherwise, what if, like, I don't know, 10 years from now, we get a wrestler that is so great, but they're in the same case as well, and they get if it not got in, somebody else think that I can be a bad person as long as I'm a great wrestler, I have a fan, now I become a Hall of Fame as well. I think we should have a limit. Yeah, I think like the people need to be earned. You know, like there's an athlete in the NFL that got their Hall of Fame or the championship take away because of the thing that they did outside, like the crime they did outside. Yeah, I think
I think people like Jeff Hardy will never be in the Hall of Fame as well. Do you think so?
I think the Hardy Boys will get in.
No, I think Hardy or Jeff, I think they're going to be fine.
I think so.
Yeah.
Exceptional for Jeff.
Maybe.
I mean, Jeff didn't kill anybody. He's just a massive drug addict. And I think in the wrestling industry, there's been a lot of massive drug addicts.
Well,
I don't think even Jeff is the worst example.
Yeah,
of
we
it,
can make a good case about it, like Ultimate Warrior as well.
Yeah.
You know, back then Vince really like don't want anything to go near Ultimate Warrior, but then he's also in the Hall of Fame as well, right? So
a lot of the reconciling of these guys that fell out. With
even Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hulk Hogan.
Vince really hate Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. And there were the best example of ones where we started to see the shift in WWE was when Bruno Sammartino accepted the Hall of Fame, because Bruno fell out with Vince before. Bruno of course was the longest running champion.
Is that like the first Hall of Fame?
No. He didn't get in until much later and he refused it multiple times. Vince had offered it, but Bruno Sammartino didn't like Vince, and he spoke out against Vince in the 80s. He spoke out against Vince in the early 90s. Like he called out him on the steroid scandal, on the he called him out on just about everything that Vince
basically everything behind the curtain.
Yeah, because Bruno was a legitimate guy. Like Bruno didn't have scandals, and Bruno was good. So how he ended up in the Hall of Fame was Triple H called him personally and said, "I would really love to see you in the Hall of Fame." So that was when we started to see Triple H's vision of things, and this was a long time ago already now. But that was when we started to see Triple H's vision of things, which is we recognize the talent and the legends. So
and everything falling up.
Yeah, and that's how Macho Man ended up going in, because Vince
Bret
didn't
Hart
want
as well.
I think Vince reconciled with Bret, as far as I'm aware, because Bret doesn't like Triple H.
Yeah, but still, like Bret have like a brief run as a general manager or so, as I
Yeah.
remember during the Nexus time.
Yeah, but as far as I'm aware, to give Vince credit, I believe that was Vince reconcile
Yeah.
that one.
I
So.
think there's two people that Vin personally reconciled according to the research online. It's Brad and Kurt Angle. I think Kurt is another guy that when he left on a bad term. With WWE. You know the 2006 TNA era.
Yeah, when he ran
Yeah.
TNA. Yeah.
And to be frankly, like Kurt is so over at TNA, like the whole time until he left, he was so over in TNA. But I think Kurt spoke on it in the podcast with Stone Cold, that he was actually personally have a talk, which basically let's forgive and forget, and then just go in.
It's okay. Yeah, friends. Wait. Before you continue, I think in Chris Benoit case, I think we can having a case like the he was in the team before, like with Eddie and Perry Saturns and Dean Malenko as a four radical. Right?
Radicals, yeah.
They can put them together in a Hall of Fame if they wanted to, and then without mention Benoit. It depends. Like.
I think it's probably the same case as it is with Nancy, is that like you can't put that in without mentioning him. So like I think the Radicals will end, like is Eddie Guerrero already in the Hall of Fame?
Eddie already in.
Yeah. So
once he died and then Ray induct him.
Yeah. So I don't think Perry Saturn had a big enough career that he will get into the Hall of Fame. Although he's back, has his life back on track now. He's doing shoot interviews and seems like a really level-headed guy for all of his history.
Yeah.
But I don't think Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn did enough in WWE. Maybe nowadays because they're also taking into account the overall thing, because in WCW they were big. But I think in all cases they're going to just erase Benoit from it. But I think Nancy needs to go into the Hall of Fame because her contributions to the industry shouldn't be erased because she was a victim. Like, it's one thing if she was involved, but she was a victim. So, like, she was a legendary manager. So in WCW, in the territories, in NWA, and in ECW. So.
Damn, I just thought of another one. Do you think Vince gonna be in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I just thought of that.
Yeah, to those who អ្នកដែលសួរតាក់ទងមើល Win អាចទៅមើល episode ទី8បានណាពួកខ្ញុំបានបកស្រាយនៅក្នុង episode ទី8ហើយនិយាយចេះសរសៃ note
That's a good question. I think it will really depend on the outcome of these trials.
I think he will be, but not now.
Yeah, like I think eventually he'll end up anyway because I mean he built such an empire. It's impossible not to.
40 years.
Yeah, and he did change the wrestling industry.
Oh, creating an evil juggernaut.
Yeah, the evil.
That's what Tony Khan called him.
What did Tony say? The Harvey Weinstein of the wrestling business. He's such an idiot. But the yes, exactly. So, and there's one thing if he had said Vince is the Harvey Weinstein of that, we probably would have agreed. But he said WWE, we're like, come on, man, let it go.
You're trying to run.
Yeah, but to answer your question about Vince, I think eventually, yes, he will be. But how long that will take will really depend on the outcome of this trial. Like, the stories that have come out about Vince is really, really fucked up. So, how it goes and how fucked up it is will decide how long it takes for him to get into the Hall of Fame. But I don't think you can have a Hall of Fame without having Vince in it.
One last thing, actually. Yeah. Did you watch the So tonight is Backlash, actually. So did you watch the kickoff yesterday?
No, I didn't. So I forgot Backlash was on, actually. So
okay, in case you should watch, because if you know, I mean, like they kind of raised off something about Bullet Club in there. I was like surprised, like surprised. They did the two sweet.
Cody is mentioned it.
Cody was
live
mentioning it,
on stage. They do the two sweet, like
With
AJ
Cole.
do the two sweet, Cody do the two sweet, and try to do it together on stage.
But then AJ like walked out.
Then it worked into the story.
I look. So that clip. There was that part. People in the comments saying that it was maybe they feel like it was unplanned. That's why AJ walked out of the stage immediately. Like that people think, and I'm not sure if it's like really unplanned or part of the like kayfabe or something.
Cody loves throwing in those meta references and stuff like that, and AJ and Cody were both in Bullet Club, so they So Cody loves throwing those things in, and so it's very strong. I'll watch it. I haven't seen it yet, but it's a strong possibility that Cody just threw that in and didn't tell AJ about it. So
so AJ made the entrance first for the kickoff show on the stage, and I think Byron Saxton reminded him that he first won the champion in Backlash, and then like they want to know how he feels and stuff, and AJ was like. When they say the fan they just say toot sweet, and they do this hand sign and stuff, and then that's why AJ was do it and say happy anniversary. That's it, and then they move to other topic, and when Cody came, he talked a little bit, and then he was like, "There's no secret. Former leader of the Bullet Club he mentioned it immediately. He wanted to do the Too Sweet with him, but then AJ walked out, and he did it with Michael Cole.
That's the angle that we've been talking for a while about the angle that they can work one day when Cody character become a bit boring, like too much of a superhero stuff. He can drop.
He could be like
the
the
suit and tie. Imagine all the
super
black
villains.
suit, the stuff.
The mafia
Tamatonga in WWE right now. Finn Balor. Like I'm been pissed off about how Vin is doing. Hey, how Finn is doing right now. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
My Irish brothers.
I love him. I just love him. I just love. He could just forget the human side. Just stay with the what is the second character?
Prince David?
The
Demon.
The demon. Yeah. Just stick with it for 1 year. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
It's also a thing now. Before you continue, the reason I think one of the reason it's the anniversary of when they create the Bullet Club.
Ah,
Is it really?
Yeah. The
That's
anniversary.
Oh,
That's
why
cool.
it said happy anniversary. Right. That's why AJ Styles said that.
but it's so cool that those references are appearing in WWE. Like so.
But I think the only missing original member right now it's only Bad Luck Fale. Because if Bad Luck Fale is in there, all the original 4 is in there because we have Carlson, Luke Gallows, and then Finn and Bad Luck Fale. So if Bad Luck Fale in, then all the original and including Tamatonga.
Yeah,
Right.
that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean they have Bullet Club there, the essentially the original Bullet Club. So that would be very very cool. And Finn Balor, AJ, and Cody are all leaders, and Tamatonga actually was also leader then as well. So I would love that. So, but it's something they should hold on to. Yeah, exactly. They're something to hold on to.
Long-term booking.
Yeah.
Long-term booking.
From now,
Yeah.
you know, when people start to get bored of Cody right now. Yeah, because
true.
the good guy, people don't buy the good guy stuff this
Yeah.
day. So one day,
The Cody heel turn. That's what. is
Well,
gonna
they tried to do it before in AEW, but he didn't want it to.
It would. I think like we all wanted him to do the.
The heel turn.
Yeah, where he would be like kind of this this delusional heel who thinks he's a face, a Homelander style thing. That's what I was hoping for. It didn't happen, but I think it can happen in WWE. So
Well, with WWE for sure, I think it's gonna happen.
so it because the baby face, the run for the title when he's pursuing it works well for the baby face, but a babyface champion gets stale very quickly. That's when you turn him heel. So, and it worked for CM Punk, it worked for The Rock, it worked for so many people. So, right now I'm still loving babyface Cody, but it's definitely coming.
babyface Roman.
Yeah.
Heel Roman.
I think they'll reverse it where they're gonna have heel Cody versus face Roman. That'd be
Sure,
cool.
yeah, it's gonna be like a sold out ticket.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Right. Anyway, I think before we end, I think it's very insightful. We discuss a lot. So since Brendan he from Ireland, we're gonna talk about like an Irish wrestler. So how many people do we know? Jay, you can start with Jay.
I mean, so far I know Sheamus and who else? Finn Balor. I heard you guys say that Becky is not Irish.
Becky's Irish.
Becky's Irish. Okay,
He was
then.
saying another. He thought Kylan King is Irish. But she's
Actually,
not,
I
so.
sent a list before. Yeah, but those 3 are the main 3 I remember.
They're the biggest ones.
Yeah, the biggest one.
That's all I know.
They're,
Right. Let's give the floor to Brendan then.
the 3 biggest ones now are Becky. Becky's from Dublin. Finn Balor is from Wicklow, and Sheamus is from Dublin. And I knew Sheamus back when he was not know him well, but there was a wrestling company in Ireland called Irish Whip Wrestling, and that was the wrestling company back then. It's still going on.
I heard about that one before when Sheamus. Yeah, like people kind of have some old clip of him and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was called Seamus O'Shaughnessy back then. So that was his Seamus O'Shaughnessy. And they came to do a show in my hometown because I come from a smaller town. And he was wrestling on it. And there was another wrestler on that in Irish Whip Wrestling who we thought would end up being a bigger star than Seamus. And he was called Drew Galloway, which is called now Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre's Scottish. He's not Irish, but he made it big at Irish Whip Wrestling. Yeah. And so then Finn Balor, he did his own thing. He went to Japan and he built his stuff there. JD McDonough, who's now in Judgment Day, he's also Irish. He's from Wicklow also. He's from the same place as Finn Balor.
Inspired by Finn Balor.
Yeah, so he's trained by Finn Balor actually. So yeah, and Becky, of course, she's from Dublin. She just became an American citizen, so you know, well,
I think
we all make bad choices. In life, so.
There's also Finlay is also Irish.
Finley is from
Not
Northern.
Irish.
He's Irish. He's from Northern Ireland. So
Yeah.
that it's a bit complicated to explain Northern Ireland and Ireland, but
That's why I wonder, like his son David Finlay. In I just looked it up earlier. They say the German-born Irish.
Yeah. So basically, anybody in Northern Ireland can choose because it's Ireland. It's on the island of Ireland, but it's still under the UK occupation. So they can choose to define themselves as Irish or as English. So Finlay chose to be Irish. So they can choose either passport basically. So Finlay is from Northern Ireland, but he chose the Irish side. And that's why his son is still considered the Irish side. What's interesting is Hulk Hogan, the character. Hulk Hogan himself, Terry Bollea, is not Irish at all. He's not Irish American. He's Italian American. But the character Hulk Hogan was meant as an Irish American character. Because back then, all of the characters were like a certain ethnicity. Like Bruno Sammartino was for the Italian Americans. And,
like a different nationality.
Yeah, because America's a melting pot.
The
and
Iron
everything.
Sheik and stuff.
Yeah, Iron Sheik was he's Iranian. So Hulk Hogan was meant to tap into the Irish American demographic because there's so many Irish Americans, and that's where it came from. But he's not Irish at all. Just the funny thing. So
He's just American.
Yeah, he's just American from Florida or whatever. So, but then like what's interesting is there's all these Irish wrestlers. What I find fascinating is Ireland's so small. It's only 5 million people, and it's about half the size of Cambodia. So, and I use this example for the wrestling industry. I also will use it for the music. I use it for the music industry and movie industry as well. Because when we talk about where the entertainment industry in Cambodia can go, Ireland is smaller than Cambodia, half the size and a third of the population. So I firmly believe we can have Cambodian breakout international stars in music, in movies. The creativity, the legacy of creativity in Cambodia is so huge, like the golden era or whatever. So because one of the criticisms are one of the things that like they say is Cambodia's too small. We can't make big stars, but I think it's bullshit. I think Cambodian stars can be huge. If Ireland can do it when we're half the size, Cambodia can do it as well. So we may see a time where we start to see Cambodian.
Well, we have the example right now. It's Van Da, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like Van Da starting to do the breakout stuff, and what I also think is eventually we're going to start to see Cambodian wrestlers appear as well, because like the limitation now is there's no wrestling school in Cambodia. So how are you going to do it? So
It was back then, right? At Siem Reap.
So there was a Chinese one. Yeah, I did a shoot for them. So I shot one of their shows as a photographer. I did do photography as a pastime.
How was it? Like, what do you think? Like they're fighting and stuff.
It was cool. Like it was really really like to shoot it. Was really interesting because I'm as a wrestling fan, I got to shoot it and then use my creativity, whatever. But like the Chinese wrestlers were really, really good and really athletic, and they were incorporating a lot of like there was one guy who was like Shaolin monk style, and he was doing all those flips and stuff. And then they had some European wrestlers in. And what was cool about that show was my friend, he's Irish, he was wrestling at the time in the UK, and he was traveling as a tourist. And he was like, hey, I'm going to be in Siem Reap. I was like, there's a wrestling company there. Do you want me to talk to them and get you on a show? Just for fun. And so he wrestled a show. Even though he was just passing through as a tourist, he wrestled a show on this Chinese company in Siem Reap. And the only reason it stopped was because of COVID, Yeah. And right now there's a wrestling company in Vietnam.
Yeah, VPW.
Yeah. So, and which are doing really, really cool things. And I've been planning to go to one of their shows, and I've already spoken to him about potentially doing a show for our streaming platforms, because we do it in Vietnam.
Maybe we all should go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And they're doing, and Jericho showed up on one of their shows.
Yeah, he did show up.
Yeah, because it started to get a little bit of attention, so of course the Cloud Vampire had to show up and get his attention. So, but then Thailand has some wrestling shows as well. Riho is one of the champions in one of the
really
one of the Thai promotions.
Wow.
She's not still champion, but she was. And then Philippines has some wrestling promotions as well. So I think right now the limitation for Cambodia is that there's no wrestling company, there's no wrestling school, but there is surrounding places that are starting to do it, and that's how it started in Ireland as well. As there was English promotions, and then they created an Irish promotion, and so I believe firmly that there can be breakout singers in Cambodia, there can be breakout actors and movie companies in Cambodia. From Cambodia, and there can be wrestlers from. I know that you guys interviewed the American Khmer wrestler. So he's flying the flag for Cambodian wrestling right now, and then maybe sometime over in the future he can come do a training thing or something like that. Plant the seeds, and that's how it grows. Like I said with the music industry, 10 years ago we planted seeds, and it grew, and that's what it's all about. So.
Man, I actually have. Ever since you start talking about your background, I actually have a business question for you. I just think that it's maybe a bit boring for the audience. So
we can ask it offline or online.
Yeah, we can do it offline then. I think it maybe too much. We'll keep it entertainment here. Sure. But I do have something. It's about wrestling as well. Just want to get your thought. But yeah, let's pick up something else. What do you want?
For sure, yeah. No, good.
I'm good.
No, I mean it's already like take some time. I mean we might do a part 2 with you some other time for sure, because there's a lot of things we haven't discussed for sure. And but for now let's just end our show here with 3 things you've been grateful for within this year or within right now.
Within the wrestling industry, or
no, I mean in your life. Yeah, in general.
In general, it's tough to answer.
Yeah. So many things. Well, I mean, as of 5 o'clock this morning, the thing I appreciate most in the world is that we finally got rain.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. For the context of everybody outside of Cambodia watching this, is we haven't had rain for like 5-6 months. So 5 a.m. I got woken up and I was like, "What's that sound?" It's raining.
It was raining since I think it's 3:50.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was just sitting on my balcony going, "Oh, it's so cool. It's so nice."
It's how you post story.
I created like that story and went back to sleep. But the jokes aside, what I'm appreciating this year so far is that I've been able to, like I said, take a step back from making other people famous and just do my own personal projects, like something like this. Having time to do this, I probably wouldn't have had time before, or I would have been like really awkward to schedule with. It would have been, you guys would have been so pissed trying to fit me in, because I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have like an hour here and this and that and the other thing." I'm get to do personal projects that I just want to do for fun, and I'm planning out this like a lot of content that I'm going to shoot in Cambodia, which is like nothing related to making money or whatever. I just want to shoot cool content, content that's meaningful and whatever. So, and like being able to be in a position to do that, I'm super grateful for that. And then I got cast in a TV drama in Cambodia, which was really cool because the director specifically asked for me, and I still consider myself in the entertainment industry, music industry, I'd done it for 20 years, but in acting, I consider myself an absolute beginner. So for a director to specifically ask for me, I was like super appreciative, and I met the director, and I had only met her one time before, and I was like super thankful to her and like super humble about everything. And she's like, "Oh, you've been doing entertainment a long time." I was like, I'm a beginner in this. Like, doesn't matter if you've done 20 years of music, you start at the bottom in this. And if ever there's an opportunity to do something related to wrestling, I'm a beginner again. I'm a fan. Right. And then on the other side of things, the last thing I appreciate is the fact that right now the wrestling industry is probably the most exciting it's been in a very long time. I know we're shit talking AEW because AEW deserves to be shit talked right now, so they get to kick up the arse to do better. But what WWE is doing, what TNA is doing, TNA is doing really, really good stuff. Joe Hendry's song is now trending
on Apple Music.
Yeah, let's get him to beat Taylor Swift. Nothing against Taylor Swift, but Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry. And what New Japan now, of course, lost a lot of people, but they're going through a rebuild. I think they're going to do really interesting things.
Same with CMML as well.
Yeah, CMML. And
Nick Nemeth, Ziggler, just recently won a world champion over there.
I think he won in AAA.
AAA, yeah.
I think, yeah. But both AAA and CMML doing really, really cool things. And then even like All Japan Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah started doing these things, and DDP Wrestling. DDP, is it DDP or no, DTT. DDT Wrestling in Japan. And we'll keep this story for the next one. But I met the DDT guys. So and there's very funny stories from that. So I'll tell you another time. But these are all the things I appreciate, like where wrestling is going and where it can go over the next year. It's exciting to see.
Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Appreciate Brendan for the show today. I think we all all the cam are exhausted. I think because it's very insightful and all the knowledge has been transferred. So yeah, I think hopefully we're gonna have a part 2 with you.
Sure.
So
Anytime.
Yeah.
Happy to chat wrestling for hours and hours and hours. As
It's
you
very
can see.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for now another special episode have end, and Jay, me, Jinn, and Zell. See you to the next episode.
We're waving to the cameras that are off right now.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys. Thanks for inviting me. Cheers.